So I think for the value where they got him, I will go out and I will say the best pick is going to be that third-round pick. I'm going to say it's going to be
Tolbert.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jalen Tolbert because I think that's a guy that could have gone in the second round in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, and I like Jalen Tolbert. And you know what I like about Tolbert is the speed. And I was thinking, if they needed to add a receiver, and I was a little bit bummed that Pickens went right before the Cowboys were on the clock at 56. Now, I don't know that they'd have even taken Pickens. It seemed like the Cowboys kind of telegraphed they were going Sam Williams, or should I say D. Williams, which we'll get to, if not here in a little bit.
I'm so confused
We'll
by
get
that.
to it at 9 o'clock. Yeah, that's what he wants to go by. But Tolbert is a speed demon. And what I love about him is he doesn't lose speed as he redirects his routes, as he moves up the field. And he does seem, even though he went to South Alabama, and you can kind of, maybe, what about the level of competition there? He does seem out of the entire draft class, he's the most NFL ready out of the group. And very productive, back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons there. He had 1,474 yards, 82 catches, 8 touchdowns last year, 700-yard receiving games, including 143 against Tennessee. All right, so there's an SEC opponent, if you're wondering about the level of competition. So it was a little weird. We're used to, in recent years, especially high in the draft, the Cowboys take guys from Power 5 schools. Well, 2 of their top 3 picks, Tyler Smith out of Tulsa and then Jalen Tolbert out of South Alabama, were not Power 5 schools. So that's a little bit off the norm that they typically do. So I'm with you. I liked the Jalen Tolbert pick. Now, CBS Sports is going with the best pick, Tyler Smith.
Really?
Yes. Now, it's interesting, because I think a lot of us were a little bit unhappy with the Tyler Smith pick when they initially made it. And I understand. I mean, Tyler Smith, when you watch him play, he doesn't look like a ready-to-go first-round pick right now. He doesn't. He looks like a developmental project. Now, if you project down the line, which is why I think a lot of people that love this pick are high on it, in talking with some people around the league and in talking with Bobby specifically, who was texting with some other GMs and some scouts, there's a lot of people that really believe this guy is going to develop into a perennial all-pro type of player. And he's got all the physical traits, and he has not played a lot of football. And we talked about this on Friday. I mean, he grew up with the Blount's disease, so
yeah, he overcame Blount's disease.
He wasn't really able to play football until, his upper class years at North Crowley.
My mom actually thought I had Blount's disease at one point in college as well.
She thought, or she knew?
I'm more of a papers guy.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's one of those weird deals. They had to break his legs because it's basically a bow-legged.
Yeah.
So you have to break your legs and then get him caged up for a while. Pretty wild deal. And the fact that he's still that athletic, having gone through something like that, is pretty special. I think from a mental standpoint, you have a guy that's really mental and physical, that's really overcome some stuff. Overcome a hell of a lot more than most that are going into the NFL or whatever. So, I mean, that's something that makes me feel better about it. I think the upside, it's all about upside. And I think it's kind of a theme with this draft. And it's something that's frustrating, but also I appreciate, because to me, this draft reads of a team that's not trying to win right now.
It fits their entire offseason.
Exactly. It fits their entire offseason, which is we're not really going all in. We're not trying to get guys that right away, day one, are going to step in and for sure dominate. They're getting a Tyler Smith, who I think in 2 or 3 years we look back, and as long as the development's there, because it's all the tools. It's basically handing the coach the ideal physical specimen for offensive line and then saying, turn this into a stud. And I know he had a ton of holding penalties and stuff like that, but in 800 pass snaps, he gave up two sacks at Tulsa. You can talk about the level of competition. That's totally fair. But I think the difference, because a lot of people are going, man, you're going to replace Connor Williams and all his penalties with Tyler Smith and all of his penalties that he
Right.
had. To me, the difference is Connor Williams, one, was doing that at a point where he was a finished product. Connor Williams is what he is now. This isn't a guy that is just going to continue to ascend. He is what he's been in the NFL for a while, and he just doesn't have the physical strength. And so he was having to hold at times because he was just getting bullied at guard.
This dude sure as bleep does.
This
have the
dude,
physical strength.
This dude's got the physical tools. He just doesn't have the technique at this point. So I think right now he is getting a lot of penalties on him. One, he was playing tackle, so there's different things that go on out there. And then two, he just doesn't have the technique, so he ends up having to hold or do whatever it is and get the penalty drawn on him. Connor Williams was a guy who just wasn't physically strong enough.
Right.
This dude is. So once he gets his technique okay, I don't think you're going to be seeing a ton of penalties from this guy. I like the upside of him as well.
Yeah.
And I love the athletic ability. This is, hey, coaches, pressure's on you.
Yeah, Joe Philbin. You better figure it out. Now,
Would I have rather had Linderbaum?
Oh,
would I have rather
absolutely.
had Jermaine Johnson,
now,
maybe?
they said they weren't going to take. They let it slip. They weren't taking Linderbaum. They thought he was too small. Now, those are things that I dislike about, some of the way that the Cowboys evaluate, where they just will say, we're not going to take a guy because he doesn't fit the measurables, the height, the weight, the typical skills that they like out of these guys. Where you have a Baltimore Ravens organization who is every single year, it seems like the best drafting team in football, which is why it seems like more often than not, they're in the playoffs. And what did they do? They just sat back. I think they even traded back, and they still got a Tyler Linderbaum when they needed a center. They cut their starter this offseason, and now he's probably going to be an absolute stud for them for future years to come. But the Cowboys ended up loving Tyler Smith, and here we go.
My favorite text so far is from the 817. I think he was saying great story in regards to the Blunt's disease and overcoming it and all those sorts of things. And he just simply says, great story, can't play.
The jury is still out.
Oh,
We will see.
so-
But there is a lot to like about Tyler Smith.
Jalen Smith part 2 says the same 817.
Oh, not even comparable. All right, he has a working leg.
Watch the film. 817 once again. So that's funny, and
His
I respect
film's not
it.
bad.
Listen, if you want to hate on this draft class, I'm not going to push back on you. I mean, this is one where you could have your first two
loved
picks
what they
could
did
be
day 3.
could be busts.
I felt like their third day, which is weird, because odds are they're not going to hit on 4 fifth-round picks, but I loved what the believe they did in the 5th round, man.